Gotta stop the run. Everybody will say that. In fact, they'll say it so often, you begin to not believe it. But in this case, this Sunday, it really applies. Good morning to you. Good Thursday morning. This is Daily Shot of Steelers, presented by FanDuel. It comes to you bright and early every weekday. If you're into hockey and or baseball, I also offer daily shots of Penguins and Pirates, and I hope you'll check those out as well. Steelers versus other Jets will be a 1:02 p.m. kickoff Sunday in East Rutherford, New Jersey. All eyes, somewhat symbolically speaking, will be on the quarterbacks. Aaron Rodgers going against his old team, Justin Fields going against his old team. But a big bulk of the focus from the visitor's perspective, I can tell you this unequivocally, will be on the simple practice of stopping the run. That might sound silly when you consider that the Jets a year ago finished dead last in the NFL in rushing attempts. And partially because of that, they finished next to last in rushing yards per game at only 91.8. Only the Raiders were lower. What's more, their main running back, and this has been the case for a couple of years now, Breece Hall, finished with 876 yards on the season. The year before, his first full season, he was at 994. So coming from a city where we were all getting down on a guy for only getting 1,000 yards, that should give you some perspective on Hall. So why any focus on stopping the run? Well, for one, and I would hope this would be obvious, Fields is over there. I don't need to tell anybody who's listening to this program how dangerous he is with his feet. Secondly, there is talent on that side. Hall is 24 years old. Braylon Allen is a good back as well. There are a bunch of first-rounders on the offensive line. And Aaron Glenn, the new head coach, is vowing to make the running game the centerpiece of that offense, which, if nothing else, will at least tell you that they're going to try a lot more often than they did in 2024. Another reason, of course, that the Steelers would want to do well against the run is that the last lingering, ugly memory in everyone's head is the number 299. Although players have been telling me for weeks now that they're not thinking about that. They're not consumed by it. It was in the past. Mike Tomlin actually does a really thorough job of convincing these guys that seasons don't extend from one to the next. It's all a new journey. But let's be real, especially for the guys up front, and not just on the interior. I'm talking about your edge guys, TJ Watt, Alex Highsmith. That was a tough thing to take. That was a tough thing to think about for several months. And what this defense is going to want, or arguably need, right away this season is to get rid of that. How do they do that? Well, first step was the obvious one. You had to change some personnel. They've done that to an extent. I don't know that that's going to be dramatically visible on Sunday. Derek Harmon, first-round pick, but he won't be there. Y.A. Black, another pick in that class, had an outstanding camp, even better preseason. We'll see how much he plays. Most of the rest of the names are going to be the same. I'm presuming here still that Cam Hayward is going to play. Keanu Benton's going to be there. And to hear Keanu tell it, it's not just going to be about personnel having changed since 299.
I mean, just the will. I feel like we got some big guys that are in there willing to stop the run. We're not all looking just for pass rush and those big stats or sack stats, but we down to get grimy.
Thought that was an interesting answer, huh? That was yesterday after practice. And all you wonder about when an athlete says stuff like that is, who's he talking about? Who's he talking about? Who was that didn't want to make those plays? Who was that didn't want to stop the run? Unfortunately, you're not going to get anybody to elaborate on that. And they won't be alone out there. I've anticipated for a while now that Isaiah Loudermilk is going to get a more prominent role in this defense than most might think. And that's mostly because stopping the run is his pedigree coming out of college. Stopping the run is the reason the Steelers drafted him. Beyond that, I believe you're going to see the inside linebackers heavily involved in this component of the game. I don't think you're going to see a whole lot of left and righting out of these guys. I don't think you're going to see Patrick Queen to isolate on one player roaming free. I think PQ is going to be locked in on either Fields or Hall or just the running game in particular. Now, again, why worry about the run if all I do is keep portraying the opponent as being inexperienced in this regard, not very accomplished at all in this regard? And then from the Steelers' side, I keep saying how capable they are of rising to this challenge. Well, that part, to me, is academic. Because if you take the run away from that team, they're not going to have anything. They have some guys who can catch the ball. We know that Justin has an arm. So they'll get their little chunks here and there. They might even get the big chunk here or there. But that offense won't go anywhere without consistently moving the football on the ground. They, the Jets, don't have the option to just flip a switch and say, here we go, we're going to throw like crazy. Whereas if they were somehow to succeed in running, they get all kinds of edges going their way, not least of which is that you wear down the defense, you keep the Steelers' offense off the field, blah, blah, blah. Get it done right there on the ground. Make amends as much as is possible for Baltimore. Turn the page. Heck, go and turn the football over, meaning to go poke it out of Justin's hands. We've seen a lot of that too. But do that. Get after that. And we're very, very likely talking about an uplifting result when we come back. J1Q. This segment of Daily Shot is brought to you by our good friends at Mike's Beer Bar. They're located on Federal Street, directly across from PNC Park. Mike has more than 500 beers on tap, including from more than 50 local breweries. Stop in and say hello. Tell Mike we sent you. Mike's Beer Bar. Football season's finally here. Time to check out the latest odds, futures, and win totals on the FanDuel Sportsbook. Think the Steelers are headed to the Super Bowl? Lock in your bets today. Whatever your game, FanDuel Sportsbook delivers the latest lines, futures, and specials so you can join in on all the action. Hiring can be so time-consuming, sorting through tons of resumes, trying to get in touch with every potential candidate. Well, the future of hiring looks much brighter because ZipRecruiter's latest tools and features speed up finding the right people so you save valuable time. And now you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/audio. Over 320,000 new resumes are added to ZipRecruiter monthly. If you see a candidate you're really interested in, you can unlock that contact instantly. Use ZipRecruiter and save time hiring. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. And if you go to ZipRecruiter.com/audio right now, you can try it for free. Again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/audio. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. Today's J1Q comes from Jeff Zimmer, who says, if you're truly all in, don't you just put up with George Pickens' BS for one last season? You know, we can go back and forth on George all fall and all winter, and I'm going to guess that at various stages we will, because he's going to have a game in Arlington. I mean, it could be soon. It could be his first game, where you say, oh, how could they? How did that happen? How do you let a talent like that go? And he's going to have episodes where everyone's going to say, oh, it's a good thing we got that guy out of here. I keep this really simple as it applies to George. Nobody knows better about what George could have brought to this offense, meaning putting up with his BS, as you put it, Jeff, than these players do. Nobody gets that more than they do. Nobody appreciates the absurdity of George's abilities more than the guys who were his teammates, who were out there training and practicing with him and playing with him better than they do. Can we agree on that much? If so, then can we also agree that no one could conceivably understand more why these same players were borderline delirious with delight when he was traded? They didn't want him around. They felt they'd be a better team without him than with him. And not to be lost in this, they recognized and respected that management didn't just dump George. Management went and got DK Metcalf and then dumped George. I use this line a lot, Jeff, and I don't mean to make it a repetitive or recurring theme, but I really feel like it applies. This isn't a video game. You're not just assigning a numerical grade to a player, putting him out there and saying make great catches. The video game, even the most sophisticated game, isn't going to have George barking at fans on the sideline and Pat Freiermuth assigned by a coach to stick with him and make sure he doesn't get in too much trouble over there. When EA Sports gets around to doing stuff like that, that's when you'll know you're really in the game. He was a distraction all over. That was not a media concoction. If anything, I felt that from reporters, George got himself a pretty fair shake, at least as much as I can notice such stuff. Now, I'm going to leave open one other possibility here, and it's not even the one that I think most people will bring up, and that's that George could grow up. I don't anticipate that based on my time around him, but it's also not out of the realm of possibility. If he were to grow up, if he were to genuinely benefit from a change of scenery, if he were to learn lessons from Pittsburgh, if he were to become a good teammate, become a good pupil under his coach's tutelage, run routes the whole way through, block diligently, even if you get specific to Dallas's scenario, if he were to become a more competitive person or player by virtue of having to compete with CeeDee Lamb for targets from Dak Prescott. Look, I could do this all day. I don't foresee it. Doesn't mean I couldn't be wrong, but I can promise you this much, Jeff. The number of Steelers who will be on that charter flight Saturday to New Jersey who will be thinking about George in any capacity is precisely zero. I appreciate the question. I appreciate everybody listening to Daily Shot of Steelers. Don't forget, we've got a double shot of Steelers coming your way today. That's at 4 p.m. Eastern, and then another one of these to close out the week tomorrow. Thanks so much for listening.